Hello, my name's Michael Jordan, and I'm going to be presenting the wonders of 3D printing. So what is 3D printing? 3D printing is the process of making a physical object from a digital model. That's putting it in pretty simple terms, but what the 3D printers basically do is they take a file of a 3D model that somebody has designed and turn it into an actual object that you can hold. It's actually a really interesting and useful way to make things. As you can see in some of the pictures here, someone prototyped a mouse for a computer, printed it, and then on the far right, it seems like that's their finished product. So it can be very detailed, nuts and bolts can be easily made. This bowl on the left, I think, shows a pretty good amount of detail. It's just a very interesting but very useful tool. How does it work? So you basically design a 3D object on a CAD tool such as Onshape. There are other ways to design things in 3D, but then you take that file, you put it into a slicer software, and then you can select the infill percentage, which is basically how dense your object will print out, and you also select the orientation for the print, meaning if you have say a square that you just want to print, you can decide to print it so it's standing straight up or laying on a side. It kind of makes a difference when it comes to your finished product, and having overhanging edges the printer needs to print support. So depending on which way you orient your object to be printed, you might have to trim more or less of the filament away. Once you set up the slicer, you bring your object or file to the printer, and the printer uses filament and lays down layer upon layer to create the object. Prints can take anywhere from minutes to hours to days, depending on the size, percentage of the infill, and just the overall intricacy. I think a higher line printer will print things faster than a cheaper one, which makes sense. So why is it useful? It enables you to model a 3D object, print it into an actual 3D object, and then it's relatively quick to do. If you have one of these in your house, I mean, you can just think, it's kind of really endless possibilities. It gives you the ability to make design changes and reprint your object fairly quickly. Like I said, minutes, hours, days, depending on what you're making. I think these three pictures here show the level of detail that can be achieved with 3D printing. Also, just different applications. You can have more of an art type of print, or you can actually have like a functional model being printed. Some types of 3D printing that kind of stood out to me, because I think they all service different industries, and the size and scope of what these different printers do is pretty amazing. So I think the one that's, I guess, maybe most simple is just CAD to 3D, where you take a file and you print objects. There's 3D bioprinting, which it actually creates tissue-like 3D structures, which is pretty remarkable, because those structures can be used as, prosthetics. It's just pretty amazing what they can do. There's construction 3D printing, where you're printing in concrete and they're printing architectural structures, which obviously eliminates a lot of work and probably saves a lot of time. Another type is stereolithography, and it uses a vat of resin and UV light. And from what I understand, you pull your object out of the resin. These objects can be highly detailed. And like I said, I think these 4 different types, there are more than just these 4, exhibit just the possibilities that you can end up with. Where can you access these technology? So in my experience, I've seen local libraries have 3D printers that you can use. Colleges, Skyline College has free 3D printing. There's obviously paid printing services, and one that surprised me the most was apparently the UPS store will do 3D printing for you. I think 3D printing is very useful technology. I mean, just the range, you can literally make anything in a sense. I think, like I said earlier, being able to print prosthetics that can improve people's lives, tools, cars, just models, really anything. The possibilities are endless, and it's probably only going to become more endless. Thank you.